My stepchildren said I couldn't ground them because you didn't raise us, so I stopped raising a finger to help. No rides, no money, no favors, no bailouts. Their bio dad's phone hasn't stopped ringing. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Reddit Visuals. You ever think people will only respect you until you stop bleeding for them? Yeah, I learned that lesson the hardest way possible. I'm a 44-year-old guy, an electrical contractor who built everything I have from the ground up. I'm not flashy, I'm not cruel, but I take pride in doing right by people, especially family. 6 years ago, I married Vanessa, a single mom of two teenagers, Ryan, who was 13 at the time, and Lily, who was 11. Their father, Greg, lived 2 states away and popped in for birthdays, always with gifts that screamed apology money. You know the type shows up twice a year with an Xbox or a new iPhone, takes a few pictures for social media, then vanishes until the guilt kicks in again. At first, I didn't care. I wanted to be the stable one, the reliable one. I coached Ryan's soccer team even though I'd never played the sport in my life. I spent weekends helping Lily build her science fair projects, volcano eruptions, solar system models, the works. And when Ryan turned 15, I spent 3 months of evenings and weekends fixing up an old Honda Civic I bought for cheap, so he'd have something safe to drive when he got his license at 16. New brakes, new tires, timing belt, the whole 9 yards. I thought I was building trust, building a foundation. What I didn't realize was that I was building a house on sand. The first crack showed about a year ago. Ryan came home drunk. Not tipsy drunk, stumbling, slurring, reeking of cheap vodka. I caught him trying to sneak in through the garage at 2 a.m. His buddy passed out in the passenger seat of that same Honda I'd rebuilt for him. I took his keys, told him to sleep it off, and the next morning I sat him down and grounded him for 2 weeks. No car, no going out, no exceptions. That's when he said the words that started the avalanche. "You can't ground me, you're not my real dad." That sentence hit me like a punch to the gut. I'm not gonna lie, I had to take a second to compose myself. I told him calmly that while I might not be his biological father, I was the one who kept the roof over his head, the fridge stocked, the gas tank filled, and yeah, the one who kept him out of real trouble. I reminded him that I could have called the cops when I found him drunk behind the wheel, that I could have let him face real consequences. But I didn't because I cared about his future. He just rolled his eyes and said, "Whatever. Mom will side with me anyway." And you know what? He was right. Vanessa did. She pulled me aside later and said I was overreacting, that boys make mistakes, that I needed to pick my battles, and remember they've been through a lot with the divorce. The problem was, every battle became one I apparently shouldn't pick. Every time I tried to set a boundary, I was being too harsh, too controlling, too much like a drill sergeant and not enough like a friend. But I wasn't trying to be their friend. I was trying to be their father figure. There's a difference. Then Lily started to mirror her brother. Little acts of disrespect at first, nice remarks, ignoring chores I'd asked her to do, skipping curfew because Dad said I could stay out. When I asked what she meant, she waved her phone at me. Turned out their bio father had been texting them constantly, promising visits that never happened, expensive trips to Disney or Hawaii that never materialized, and most importantly, freedom. No rules, no expectations, just fun. He was the hero, I was the warden. Still, I tried. I suggested family therapy. Vanessa shot it down, said we didn't need strangers in our business. I set clearer boundaries. The kids ignored them. I practiced patience, the kind that makes your jaw ache from clenching your teeth. I told myself that consistency wins hearts eventually. It doesn't. Not when the people you love have already decided which role you play in their story. Things came to a head one Saturday afternoon. Ryan, now 17, borrowed my tools without asking expensive professional-grade equipment I use for work, the kind that costs thousands of dollars to replace, and left them scattered in the driveway. Not even in the toolbox, just lying there in the dirt and gravel. When I confronted him, he smirked and said, "You act like you own everything around here." I felt my blood pressure spike. I do own it, I paid for it. With money I earned doing the job these tools help me do. He laughed, actually laughed in my face. Then Lily, now 15, chimed in from the doorway. "Then maybe stop pretending we owe you something. You didn't raise us. You've only been around for 6 years. 6 years. Like that was nothing. Like 6 years of showing up every single day meant less than the guy who sent birthday cards with $50 inside twice a year. It was like someone flipped a switch inside me. I didn't yell. I didn't argue. I didn't throw the tools at his car or storm off. I just looked at both of them and said very quietly, "Okay." And that single word changed everything. That night, after everyone went to bed, I sat at my desk in the garage and pulled out a legal pad. I wrote down every single thing I did for those kids. And I mean everything. Weekly allowances $20 each, gas money for Ryan's car about $60 a week, car insurance for a 17-year-old male driver, $240 a month, phone bills for both of the another $120 a month on our family plan, Lily's dance classes $150 a month, Ryan's soccer league fees $80 a month, school lunches when they were too lazy to pack about $40 a week combined, clothes, shoes, toiletries, haircuts, the occasional dinner out, movie tickets, you name it. I tallied the total monthly cost. It came to just over $900, not counting the bigger stuff like the car I'd fixed up, the laptop I bought Lily for school, or the thousands I'd put into making sure they had the same opportunities as kids with two involved parents. Then I drew a line under that number and wrote one word, 0. The next morning, I made eggs and coffee like nothing had happened. I was calm, cheerful even. When Ryan asked for gas money before heading to soccer practice, I looked up from my newspaper and said, "Ask your dad." He laughed, thought I was joking. "Come on, man, I'm going to be late." "I'm serious," I said. "Ask your dad." He stared at me for a second, then grabbed Vanessa's car keys instead. She didn't notice until later. When Lily asked for a ride to her friend's house that afternoon, I gave her the same answer. "Ask your dad." "He's in another state," she said, like I was stupid. "Then I guess you're not going," I replied, turning back to my laptop. She huffed and went to complain to her mom. Vanessa came into the garage 20 minutes later. "What's going on? Why are you being like this?" "Being like what?" I asked. "Petty. Cold. They need rides. They need help." "Then their real dad should help them," I said calmly, "since I didn't raise them and all." Her face went pale. "You're seriously going to punish them for something they said in anger?" "I'm not punishing anyone," I said, meeting her eyes. "I'm just stepping back so their real parent can step up. Isn't that what they wanted?" She didn't have an answer for that. By the end of the first week, panic started to set in. Ryan missed 2 soccer practices because his car ran out of gas and I wouldn't give him money. His coach called, annoyed. Lily missed the school bus one morning because she overslept, and when she asked me for a ride, I was already late for work. She had to walk 3 miles. Got to school sweaty and furious. Vanessa started noticing the tension. She accused me of being petty, said I was teaching them resentment instead of responsibility. I said, "No, I'm teaching them reality. Reality is that the person they've been counting on isn't the one they claim to respect, so now they can count on the one they do." That sparked World War III. She said, "You can't just stop being a parent when it's inconvenient." I replied, "I'm not a parent, remember? I'm just the guy who married their mom. I didn't raise them. So I'm stepping back and letting the man who did or didn't take over." She went silent. Because deep down she knew Greg wasn't going to show up. He never did. A week and a half later, reality bit them hard. Ryan's car insurance lapsed. I'd been paying it out of my account, and when I stopped, the auto pay failed. The insurance company sent him a notice in the mail. He came storming into the living room, waving the letter. "Why didn't you pay this?" he demanded. I looked up from the TV. "Because it's not my responsibility. It's my car. That I fixed. That I bought. That I insured. But you're right, you're almost 18. You're basically an adult. Adults pay their own insurance. I don't have that kind of money." "Then call your dad. Maybe he'll help." He tried. I heard him on the phone later that night, voice cracking, begging Greg to send money. The call went straight to voicemail. Then again. Then again. Lily's crisis came 2 days later. She'd forgotten to turn in the permission slip and payment for her class trip, some outdoor education camp thing the school does every year for sophomores. $60 due 2 weeks ago. The school sent a final notice. pay by Friday or she couldn't go. She came into the living room that Thursday night, eyes red and puffy, waving the crumpled paper. I need $60 by tomorrow. I looked at Vanessa, who just stared at me like I was the villain in a horror movie. I turned back to Lily and said softly, "Ask your dad, sweetheart." Her voice cracked. I tried. He blocked my number. The room went silent. You could hear the clock ticking on the wall. "What?" Vanessa whispered. "He blocked me," Lily said again, tears streaming down her face now. "I've been texting him for 3 days and they won't go through. Ryan tried calling him and it goes straight to voicemail every time." Vanessa looked at me and I saw at the first crack of understanding. The realization that Greg wasn't the backup plan she thought he was. He was a ghost, a hologram. He existed in their minds as this fun, carefree alternative to me. But when they actually needed him? Gone. I didn't gloat. I didn't say I told you so. I just looked at Lily and said, "I'm sorry he did that to you." And I meant it, because even though she'd hurt me, I hated seeing her hurt worse. Vanessa ended up paying for the trip, but the damage was done. Over the next month, I maintained my boundaries. No lectures, no passive-aggressive comments. Just quiet, consistent distance. I cooked dinner for myself and Vanessa. The kids made their own meals or ordered delivery with their dwindling savings. When Ryan's car broke down transmission issues, it sat in the driveway for a week and a half. He tried to fix it himself using YouTube videos. Didn't work. He asked me for help. I said, "I didn't raise you, remember?" He walked away without another word. When Lily's phone got shut off for non-payment, I'd removed her from our family plan and told her she needed to get her own if she wanted one. She had to use the landline like it was 1995. She hated it. Her friends clowned her at school. But here's the thing. I wasn't doing this to be cruel. I was doing it because they needed to feel the weight of what they'd said. Words have consequences. Disrespect has consequences. You don't get to tell someone they're not your parent and then expect them to keep parenting. Then came the turning point. I came home late from a job one night, some emergency electrical work at a commercial site, and found Ryan in the garage, on his back under his car, trying to fix the transmission. He had a flashlight duct-taped to the undercarriage and was swearing under his breath. He slid out when he heard me come in. His face was streaked with grease and frustration. "Hey," he said quietly, "do you have a torque wrench I can borrow?" I didn't say anything for a moment, just looked at him. Then I walked over to my toolbox, pulled out the wrench, and handed it to him. "Thanks," he muttered. I nodded and started to head inside. Then he said, "Hey, I didn't realize how much you did for us." I stopped, turned around. Most people don't until it stops happening. He looked down at the wrench in his hands. "I'm sorry for what I said, for all of it." I nodded slowly. Apology accepted. But sorry doesn't fix the transmission. You've got to do that yourself. He almost smiled. Almost. "Yeah, I know." I went inside, and for the first time in weeks, I felt something loosen in my chest. Lily's moment came a few days later. She had detention after school for being late. Too many times, turns out, walking 3 miles every morning makes you late a lot, and Vanessa refused to pick her up. Said she had a work meeting. Lily tried to call a rideshare, but her account was linked to a deactivated card. The ride never came. I found her sitting on the front porch 2 hours later, mascara streaked down her face, arms wrapped around her knees. She looked so small. "What happened?" I asked, sitting down beside her. "I hate him," she said, voice shaking. "I hate him so much. He doesn't care about us. He never did. And I was so stupid for believing he did." I didn't say anything for a minute, just sat there with her. Then I said, "You weren't stupid. You were hopeful. There's a difference. You wanted him to be someone he's not, and that's not your fault, that's his." She wiped her eyes with the back of her hand. "I'm sorry for what I said. I didn't mean it." "You did mean it," I said gently. "At the time, but that's okay. People say things they mean in the moment and regret later. What matters is what you do after." She leaned her head against my shoulder. It was the first real physical affection she'd shown me in over a year. "Can you help me fix this?" she whispered. Fix what? Us. I exhaled slowly. Yeah, I think we can. Vanessa watched the shift happen in real time. One night after the kids had gone to bed, she sat down next to me on the couch and said, "You were right. I should have backed you up. I should have made them respect you." I didn't gloat, didn't rub it in. I just said, "It's not too late, but we have to be on the same page from now on. No more good cop, bad cop. We're both parents, or neither of us is." She nodded, and for the first time in years, I felt like we were actually partners. The real twist came a few weeks later. Greg, their biological father, started calling. A lot. Apparently, Ryan had sent him a long, angry email explaining everything. The blocked numbers, the broken promises, the fact that I'd stepped back and he'd realized how much I'd actually been doing. Greg panicked. Suddenly, he was Mr. Involved Dad, calling twice a day, offering money, trying to video chat. But here's the thing Ryan and Lily barely answered. When they did, the conversations were short, polite, but cold. One night, Greg left me a voicemail. I'll never forget it. His voice was tight, defensive. "I don't know what kind of poison you've been feeding my kids, but they're acting like I'm the bad guy here. This is parental alienation, man. I could take you to court." I listened to it twice, then deleted it. He wasn't going to do anything. He never did. Months passed. The kids started to adjust to reality. Ryan got a part-time job at a grocery store to pay for his own gas and insurance. Lily started babysitting for neighbors to pay for her phone. They helped around the house without being asked. Started saying thank you when I did help them, which I slowly started doing again, now that respect was in the equation. One night at dinner, Ryan looked up from his plate and said, "I've been looking at trade schools, electrical work like you. I think I'd be good at it." I tried not to show how much that meant to me, just nodded and said, "You would be. It's honest work." Lily added, "I want to study social work, help kids whose parents are messy like ours." Vanessa teared up. I reached over and squeezed her hand. "Now, before anyone paints me as some cold-hearted stepdad, let me be clear. I love those kids. I always have. But love without respect turns into servitude. It turns you into a doormat. And you can't keep showing up for people who only see your effort as background noise. Sometimes the only way to teach value is through absence. These days, the house feels different. Lighter. There's laughter again, but it's different earned. Real. Ryan's applying to trade schools and electrician apprenticeships. Lily's talking about college. And Vanessa and I were stronger for it. Boundaries became the glue we didn't know we needed. Every now and then, I still hear Greg's name pop up, mostly in frustration. Ryan tried calling him about filling out financial aid forms for school. No answer. Lily texted him on her birthday last month. Nothing. Not even a happy birthday. His phone might ring when they need him, but he's the one who stopped answering years ago. And me? I stopped trying to replace their father. I just became the man who was still there, still showing up, still putting in the work. Because at the end of the day, biology doesn't make you a parent. Showing up does. So Reddit, what do you think? Was I wrong for stepping back when they disrespected me? Should I have kept trying to force a relationship, or was it right to let reality teach the lesson I couldn't? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I really want to know what you'd have done in my place. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. It really helps the channel grow and lets us keep bringing you more incredible stories just like this. Thanks for watching Reddit Visuals, where every story reminds us that respect, once lost, is earned back through truth.